Tinubu that we know. A Tinubu that will encourage and embolden thuggery. In the senator today, if you are not a strong person, you are a strong woman or a strong man, and you do not have this dog-like culture, you will not survive the culture of the day. Tinubu now, who just got attacked by Rufai and Dr.Abati, because everything we are seeing now is if you are not a grabber or a snatcher, you cannot become anything in this Tinubu's administration. After all, if you check Lagos, you see that the thugs are now millionaires and billionaires. The likes of Omo, the Sego. You just have to be a very hard man. A hard man. You don't look at what's going on in Edo State. A man who finds it very difficult to, to add one or two, construct two languages together, English language. They even gave him the budget. He said he was. Let us listen to what Rufai and Dr.Abati said about the Tinubu, who right now today is a man who is for the talk, by the talks, and of course, for the talks. Let us just listen. Bye for now.
What you got to respect yourself? Shut up and take him out. Smell him out. Smell him out. Look like a dog. Look at you. Big fool. Fool at 70. Fool at 70. Please. Let me talk like that. I've been a senator.
I take exception to a senator.
Why are you talking to me like that?
You are a disgrace to the Senate.
You are an insult to womanhood.
You are
an insult to womanhood.
All right, let me take this tweet from Frederick, who wrote, "The shame of a Nigerian senator. Bullying women is now their stock in trade. A senator bullying former Minister of Education, Ezekwisili, during a public hearing. The suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan did not do as much as this. Under Akpabio, this bully called Senator Nwaboying will neither be disciplined nor suspended unless he accuses Akpabio of sexual harassment. Let us see how Akpabio's Senate will handle this national shame." Well, Nwaboying, who was on our nightly news program Newsnight to address the sexual harassment petition submitted by Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and the altercation that ensued at the Senate committee, said that he regrets his statements he made against the former minister, but called for disciplinary actions to be taken against her. Let's take a look.
Respect is earned. She has no right to talk to me. And to talk to me in that way, for me to shut up my mouth, it means that she's not mature.
Okay.
She got to her level by accident. She has admitted publicly, and having done so, I commend her. And I must tell you, I regret my choice of words to her.
That's
because
fantastic.
she's old enough to be my mother.
Great.
She's old enough to be my mother. But like I said, it is her action that brought up my reaction. But having admitted publicly that she said so, I give it to her.
Some Nigerians are asking for disciplinary action against you based on, today's
based on what?
Yes.
Based on what? They should first ask for disciplinary action against Ezekwisili for asking me to shut up my mouth.
All right.
For saying that I'm a disgrace to the Senate. Let them discipline her first.
All right, let me take this tweet from EJ, who wrote, "The senator's conduct, as documented in multiple video recordings, is unacceptable and unprofessional. His actions are strongly condemned. No senator should behave in such a manner. Senator Nwaboying should learn to control his emotions. It's good that he is withdrawing those words. He should never use such words on anyone again." Similarly, Madam Ezekwisili's response is also unacceptable. Instructing a senator to shut up is inappropriate in a professional environment. Both of them exhibited unacceptable behaviors, period. She is a former minister and he is a sitting senator. They should behave responsibly. Well, let's take Ezekwisili's account of the incident. She spoke with Charles Anyagolu on Arise Primetime, and she admitted to telling Senator Nwaboying to please shut up, but insisted that the senator was initially provoked before the altercation ensued. Let's take a look.
And then this senator
whom I will not acknowledge by mentioning his name at all.
Well, his name is Senator Whiteboy.
That's okay. But, he then said, well, if they're not serious about giving any testimony, I am here representing the Senate President as a respondent, and that I am prepared to speak because, we can't continue with this. So I said to him, can you please shut up? Because, we were just told that we couldn't speak, and you have been speaking without any form of an equivalent treatment.
So let me just get this. You said to him to shut his mouth.
Yes.
And that was what provoked the Senate.
He was already provoked.
Right.
He was already provoked because he spoke.
But it went from being a spark of a tinder box into a roaring flame.
Precisely. So he was already provoked by the fact that he felt we were not serious. In fact, part of what inflamed it was that the petitioner then said, oh, by the way, it is this senator that made a lot of statements about my senator and in words that were not complimentary.
All right, Ezekwisili here saying that Senator Nwaboye was already provoked before the altercation ensued. I'd like your thoughts on all of the
Okay, I will go about it this way. See, there's something I see here about the Nigerian character. There's something about this pressure cooker life that we live in this country, and it gets worse from one administration to the other, that people find it very difficult to have very decent conversation. Yes. Now, all the traits of the Nigerian, character were on display in that, altercation. First, the senator was saying, I'm a senator of the Federal Republic. Okay, everybody is busy with, do you know who I am?
Yes.
Do you know who I am? We have this sense of importance. And then, before you know it, the conversation will degenerate to name calling. One party calls the other hooligan. Shut up. The other one says, you are a disgrace. The other one says, you are a disgrace too. That altercation should not have taken place on the floor or within the premises of the National Assembly. So I think it looks ugly. It speaks to the way we behave as Nigerians. If you were talking to foreigners and you talk like this, they will be afraid. They will think that you just left the zoo. Anyway, the second thing is to know that two fighting or affray or altercation is an offense. It's a felony under Section 84 of the Criminal Code. No, you are not allowed to fight in a public space or to, quarrel in such a manner that, you look like you want to take advantage of each other. However, there's something they call parliamentary privilege, which is the immunity that lawmakers and people who speak on the floor, under parliamentary proceedings enjoy. Number 3 is the point that, look, both are in the wrong. As the gentleman that you quoted, as the man you quoted, EJ, I think, you quoted his tweet. Yes. He said that the senator was wrong. After all, we call senators distinguished people.
Exactly.
And a senator is supposed to conduct himself in a very responsible manner. Even if he was angry that he was called a hooligan and asked to shut up, there was a chairman of that meeting. He could have sought the protection of the chairman. And the chairman would have maybe asked, Mrs. Ezekwisili to withdraw her statement. Right. And there will be some guy. But on his own, he just jumped and took over the meeting. And then the thing degenerated. And Mrs. Ezekwisili too, as an elderly person, shouldn't have, found herself in this kind of situation where you'll be talking to a senator that was born in 1982.
Well, it was 1982. Okay.
He was born in 1982.
No, quite young.
No, he was born in 1982.
Yes,
and he himself, we're Africans. And he himself was saying, Ezekwisili.
Do you know who I am?
Ezekwisili is an elderly person, a grandmother, and he was talking to her like that.
Come on,
the matter could have been handled
better
in a different manner.
Yes.
And finally, which is my final point on this matter, is that, look, there is a lot of distraction. Where is the National Assembly, the Senate, going to find time now to do the work for which Nigerians have voted for them? Since March, we have not discussed any other thing. It is this Senator Akpoti Udua's matter affecting other matters, dragging in other people in this matter. I hope that we will get through this as quickly as possible, and that Senate will return to serious lawmaking, which is his primary responsibility.
All right.
But it looks ugly, both to Nigerians watching it and also to the international community. Right. They asked Mrs. Ezekwisili to go on oath.
Right.
I think that was what she said caused the matter, and she said she could not go on oath. Now, I don't know whether it's a standing order that you go on oath before you serve as a witness, before your matter can be adopted. So there are many gray areas in this particular matter.
Right,
but
absolutely.
Please, we want more seriousness coming from the Senate.
Well said, Dr. Abati. I just wanted to raise it. I mean, should the Committee for Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions, address this matter? I mean, this is a sitting senator. I'm not going to go on Obi Ezekwisili because she's not within the Senate. It's a sitting senator. Behaving in such a manner. It was televised. It's all over social,
parliamentary behavior.
But
social media.
Petition, should be able to listen
should
to
he face disciplinary action?
No, but if you file a petition, if there's a petition filed to his conduct, they should be able to respond.
I'd like for you to speak to that.
Okay,
and
so
his behavior.
See, both parties have blames to share here. But let me go to a background, because there is something before something. At first, those in defense of Senator Akpoti had talked about bias of that committee. In fact, I hear there had been a court filing to debar the head of that committee, that Senator Maswe, in the first place. Secondly, the case of oaths, there was a back and forth. And this was what Senator Obi claimed, because there are two sides to the story.
Dr. Obi.
I mean, I said Senator Obi, goodness me. Because the senator said you can never be here, so maybe she can be here. Senator, you don't know. So what she claimed was that they had stopped their team, from speaking, and he, the senator, whereby he said, if you people are not serious, we are ready to go ahead and take the oath. And then she interjected with that line, shut up. And he got infuriated and he said the following words, not my words. The full word, full at 70, smelly mouth, scandal, lots of words were going around, which was not good conduct by both parties. But I think the substantial matter we should talk about, Oji, is the fact that the real investigation by the Senate Ethics Committee should not be drowned in this side drama. We must get to the point where the Natasha team presents her own facts on the ground, and the Akpabio team also have their own facts on the ground, and we are able to weigh this so that we can get a reasonable conclusion.
Yes.
This drama is not necessary. I'm very sad that the first time that the Ethics Committee did sit down to hear this matter after a while, it is this drama we are taking out of it. The drama is not the substance of what happened. What happened is the fact that the Senator Natasha team is claiming bias on one side, and the Senate should be able to recuse itself if they claim bias against this committee, like they advise that a ad hoc committee should be set up. I think the Senate Committee on Ethics should recuse itself, since initially a case of bias has been established against them. A free, independent committee so that we can get to the end of this matter and we can get done with all of this.
All right. Aya, I'd like to come to you on Obi Ezekwisili and her response right there on, Arise Prime Time. And she did admit that she told the senator to please shut up. And obviously, we also heard her call him a scoundrel. And, I just wanted to, your thoughts on her behavior, her mannerism, and what's next? What would you like to see next happen?
All right, thank you so much. I thought it was a show of shame, especially a show of shame being televised. I have a lot of respect for Dr. Obi Ezekwisili, and whether or not she ever gets into the Senate, she has made her mark in history, whether as Vice President at the World Bank, a nominee for the Nobel Peace Prize, founding director, Transparency International, Fixed Politics, and so many others. She's, served in government at different points, and, to a very large extent, scandal-free. So she's earned her stars as a public servant in Nigeria and also even in the private sector. However, I do think that no one should ask anybody, especially in such a professional setting, to shut up. Yes, people can get provoked, but there are two adults on the table, irrespective of how old or what their resume was. They were before a panel to present or represent a matter, and unfortunately, that then degenerated. I think in terms of who should apologize, both of them owe each other and Nigerians an apology. Number one is that Dr. Obi Ezekwisili is a role model to a lot of young women, men, youths across Nigeria, and I don't think it's becoming to see this kind of behavior and to justify it. In the same vein, Senator Iweboye is also, well, he said he's a senator, so he all the respect, and he once served as chairman of a program of World Bank, so he himself is very important.
Yes.
But I do believe that in the interest of the fact that he is the one who was a senator within the chambers, within that parliamentary system, he ought to be disciplined.
Right.
And it's just to demonstrate a no tolerance for such behavior. If someone can be disciplined for speaking up against an allocation of seats, how much more someone who sat before and didn't even respect the fact that he had a chairman of the committee and used very strong language to speak against someone who was invited for a committee meeting. I say this because there's action and reaction. When an action is done, and I think it was Dr.Abati who mentioned it, that even if something was said to you that you didn't like, you didn't have to, like Michelle Obama said, when they go high, we go, when they go low, we go high. He could have easily just asked, oh, this was, and then just quenched that matter. But he went off and he just went off. You know, when you report a case of domestic violence and they say, what did the woman do? That question is very upsetting. But even beyond that, if you go to any law enforcement agency, it's the one that hits, that gets, that gets apprehended. So it's your reaction to such a statement that could have easily put you out of this system. And I just want to say that I believe that public servants should have two trainings, important and compulsory. Anger management training and communication skills training. We've seen this play out a number of times, and I believe that it's a disservice to the position and the office that they represent when they come out and they speak in such a manner. It is disgraceful, it is quite sad, and I hope the Senate takes it up.
Well.